What's up, guys, and welcome back for another solo mining episode 30. We're going to be going out here, the Mackinaw, and mining a little bit. I guess the topic today will be nomadic mining or nomad mining, and I'll be kind of talking about how I kind of purpose each one of my alts and kind of how I move around and do different types of mining, because as you can probably guess from the series this far, I've got multiple mining characters, and usually they're all kind of purpose built for a certain type of activity. And I've talked a lot about the kind of like basing yourself out of a single high-sec system and staying there and mining belts and kind of doing the thing stationary and kind of based for the most part. But I haven't really talked about like the nomadic characters that I've got, the nomadic tunes or alts, and how they kind of operate and how they fit into like the overall equation. But I figured today we'll kind of make this a little bit of a long form video. I am out here in the Mackinaw, like I said, and we're just doing some high-sec mining, and because I've already kind of run through all my checks for the morning, and I've there's no really rare ore in the vicinity where I'm at right now, and I'm not really going to try to go out and find it right away. I've got quite a bit of it, but once she fills up and we get this stuff compressed, and I go back to like where I have headquarters set up in this system, I'll kind of give you an idea on this fit. I'll have this fit in the description as well. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm bringing a Mackinaw out for this kind of stuff, with pretty much all the type of crystals that you could think of to use for the rare ore and then just normal high-sec ore. But it kind of depends on pirate strongholds, on kind of where I mine each day. So for instance, the system that I have my Orca and my Hulks, and where we're actually physically stockpiling all of the ore, the system that is set up in, for the past 2 days, it's had a pirate stronghold in it. My main could technically come out and destroy that pirate stronghold, but I just couldn't be bothered. So instead of mining in those systems with the Orca and the Hulks and things like that, I have this character set up that is more or less my nomadic or nomad miner. So the Poshman video that you saw in last episode, that is this character. This character is pretty highly skilled for the most part. Let me just kind of bring up her skills here and kind of what she does. But she's about 46 million skill points. She's training a lot of resource processing right now, and that's basically to start, I'm getting her kind of in the point where she can do moon mining, and that'll be one of those things where, I'll talk to corporations that have moons and stuff like that, and strike a deal with them, and then if I go and mine that moon, then I'll go out there with her excuse me, and mine what I have to mine, compress it, and just kind of move on. But she's also a maxed Tingu pilot. She also has I think she has max scanning skills, all that stuff. So she's kind of like my the goal for her was to be like, she can scan, she can covert ops, she can use Tech 2 mining, modulated strip miners and things like that. So she goes to Poshman. She does trig space mining. She does rare ore mining, looking for that stuff in high sec. She does ice mining. She kind of moves around and does ice mining as well. And that's kind of one of the really big enjoyments for this character too, because it allows me to just kind of like keep moving, always kind of be moving to like a new system or a new area of New Eden, instead of just being kind of stuck in the same sort of situation. But also, there's nothing wrong with like actually posting up in a certain system, because you need to like have all your assets kind of centrally located for the most part. So I also have a dedicated hauling alt that runs a crane. So depending on where in New Eden this character is, she'll kind of get somewhere close to where our stockpile location is, and the hauling alt, instead of her going all the way back to our like based system, um, if it's easier, I'll just bring like the crane, the hauling alt to her, to this character, and kind of grab what she's acquired, and take it back. And that helps a lot too. Like if I'm taking anything other than like a prospect to Poshman, it helps immensely. So, for instance, there's probably going to be a time where she is going to train up into using an orca, and so I think that's going to be the point where she's going to end up moving. I'll probably transition this Nomad miner into a Poshman miner, and so what I'm thinking for that is her goal is going to be, she's going to be basically getting an orca, and we're going to put probably a prospect and a probably a porpoise. Where a lot of stuff won't be fitted when we first go out, but we'll try. We're gonna try to take like a prospect, a porpoise, an endurance, probably a Mackinaw, and all this stuff. We're gonna essentially move her to Poshman, and then she is going to end up just mining a bunch of Spudmane, Rakavine, and stuff like that. And then ever so often, what I'll do with her is, for instance, I'll take the reason I would take like a porpoise is because it aligns really, really fast, so it's easy to get like kind of out of that low sec kind of belt when you're coming in. But also, I figure what I'd probably do is when she's ready to actually kind of export stuff, I'll probably actually bring in a character with higher trig standings to come get the stuff from her. The other reason I'm not really like kind of too concerned about doing orca for her, because I think it'd be interesting if she just had like a porpoise and just did like kind of mining out there and Poshman like that, and then whenever she fills up, she could actually like grab our glorification out into the low six system, and the mining alt, the hauling alt could come out and grab the ore from her, and then from that low six system she could go like right back into a border system. I don't know, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I digress. Trying not to get too off topic for this video, but the goal here is just to do quite a bit of mining here, and also just kind of talk about the different uses for her. Because at any one time, like she's doing high sec mining right now, but if I felt the need to go do like Poshman mining, she could literally go and to Jita and grab her, mining ship for that, and go straight over and pop into Poshman and do stuff. Or I could put her in a Tengu and go do rat sites, which is kind of nice. She's always kind of moving, but and that's really a nice thing to have whenever like your main system is kind of you're unable to mine in those systems. Now technically you could mine in a system with a pirate stronghold, but in most cases for how I mine, I wouldn't be able to get everybody off grid. Excuse me. I wouldn't be able to get everybody off grid before the NPC response fleet for those pirate strongholds would be kind of on top of me. It's happened before. I've actually managed to get an orca off of grid after I was like essentially tackled and stuff by that NPC fleet. I lost one augmented Hornet or something. I don't remember. I lost one drone to it, but it was close. I almost lost that orca, and I've known people who've lost orcas and stuff. And this was before sieging. This was before industrial cores, like when they were like ready to move. The second those mining things came in, it happens. So just as like a personal thing for me, every time I log into a mining alt, I always check encounters and pirate strongholds, and if the system I'm trying to mine in has a pirate stronghold, I just go to another character for that day or until the thing is gone, which is why I end up having multiple different alts doing different things. But with that being said, as much as I love doing like Orca and Hulk, fleet mining and high sec, there are times where I just feel like being a little being kind of a wanderer too, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of grabbing the Mackinaw and just going out and looking for the rare ores, or going and getting Spudmane or Rakavine, or going out to Null and getting Mercoxis. And that's one thing that she's still got to get. I have a Mercoxis mining tune, but I'm trying to get this character more well-rounded there. So once she actually gets more Mercox's training, we'll be able to actually go out to, you know, nullsec and grab Merc as well, and just and like, I guess sort of like my goal lately has just been like, I've been collecting or compressed ore types for the most part. She's done quite a bit of ice mining as well lately, which is I'm really actually happy I've been able to get quite a bit of ice in high sec, because while I haven't, you know, taken the Orca out in a while, having that that reserve of ice to help facilitate heavy water is always, you know, anytime I feel like I'm, you know, extremely self-sufficient, then I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. I don't tend to mine for, and like for another thing too is, I saw some comments talking about, you know, the type of rare ore you should be targeting when you're going to the rare ore anomalies, and for the most part, I don't mine from ISK. Whenever I go to the rare ores, I'm looking for what is actually contained. So I always prioritize isogen and noxium in that rare ore stuff, because that means that I don't have to actually, you know, take this character. I mean, she could go into low sec in like a venture and do very, very well. It's just not something I like to do. It's just kind of tedious and kind of annoying. So anytime I go to the rare ore fields, I always look for isogen and noxium. Everything else, even if it's like a higher value ISK-wise, I tend to leave on the field. But if I have no competition, I take it all anyway, because I'm in a Mackinaw. So that's why I carry like all the crystals, the Coherent, the complex, you know, all that stuff. I carry pretty much every crystal that is required for the rare ore, and then that allows me to get that stuff into the mining hold extremely efficiently, which is definitely nice. I've been trying to get my live streaming situation kind of set up over the past day or so, but my internet is, I've been in contact with my service provider. There's, you know, really, they're not helping out a lot, and the goal kind of was to take kind of this series to more of like a long form format, where I'm just doing a lot of just a ton of mining on camera and stuff like that. And I thought that, you know, a live stream situation would be a really good setup for that, which is why I was kind of working on trying to like figure it out. But the thing is, we've shifted to 4K for like the regular videos on the channel, and if I live stream, the best I could do right now with my current upload speed, which is atrocious, the best I could do is like 720p at like maybe 1500 kilobits a second. That's how bad my upload speed is right now. And to give you an idea of like the speed I'm supposed to be getting with the package, the internet package I have, I'm supposed to be getting 35 megabits per second. But instead, I'm actually averaging anywhere between like I've been running I ran a loop test every 5 minutes. I've like tested internet speed and to get an average. Pretty much right now, I'm averaging anywhere between like 1.4 megabits and 2.2 megabits per second. So as you can probably guess, if you know anything about like encoding or doing stuff like that, it's extremely impossible to do any sort of you know, HD live stream with that kind of situation. So I think what we're going to do is, because I do want to maintain like kind of a level of quality for the channel, so these episodes, until I can get the internet stuff kind of figured out, these episodes are essentially going to be just really kind of, they're going to feel very live streamy, like as far as me going out and mining and just kind of chatting and talking. And then any questions you have, you can ask in the comments, and it'll be I'll try to answer questions in the episode that comes after. So we'll do what we can do. I mean, unless something drastically changes for me, we're kind of waiting. My area is kind of waiting on fiber to get set up, which I don't even know, like I haven't had decent internet in such a long time. Getting something like fiber in my area would be ridiculous, because that upload speed doesn't just affect actual just live streaming, it also affects how long it takes for me to upload a video, for instance. And since we're since I'm doing like 4K video now, the file sizes get a lot bigger, a lot quicker. So I've had days where like a 25-minute video, like a 2 gig, like even like for like HD, for like 1080p videos, I've had days where a video, which would be like maybe like let's say 2 gig video, would take 2 hours or 3 hours to upload, and then on a decent uplink, that should only take like 10 minutes or so, whatever. But and actually I should be according to YouTube, for 4K video I should be encoding at like 68 megabits for bitrate for 4K 60, because right now it's like, even if I'm not streaming, I'm just doing these like kind of offline. I'm gonna be recording these videos essentially in 25 megabit bitrate and putting those up, and the upload time will still be kind of long. But I've also in very recent history have gotten kind of in the pattern of just doing the single, like doing a video a day, because I feel like that's very, very sustainable for me, and it gives you guys something to look forward to, like having an actual long form video come out every day, rather than just kind of like blasting a whole lot of different stuff. Because it took me a while to kind of find my groove with EVE Online content and everything, and I feel like this series has kind of I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm kind of doing content, and I'm also doing stuff in game that I extremely enjoy. But enough about that. I don't even know how at this point how many times I've complained about my internet speed on video, but it's just letting you guys know, it's like the live streaming is something that I do want to do, but right now the variables that are hindering me from doing it are out of my control until fiber essentially becomes available. But anyway, we're going after Veldspar, as you can probably guess. We're getting pretty close to filling up our first load here. Veldspar, and then we got some rich plag here as well, which we'll probably grab that. We grabbed all the dents already, but we'll probably grab the rich plag on the next trip, I'm thinking. But I guess we'll go ahead and talk about the fit here. This is not much different than the fit I've used in the past. It's essentially just, mining lasers in the lows, got modulated strips in the highs, and then I got a survey scanner, 2 compact multi-spec hardeners, and an EM shield amp with some Tech 2 Hornets. And then I'm running a medium ice harvester because this character can and does switch to ice upgrade lows and ice strip miners. And then I have a multi-core defense extender 2 here just to get a little bit more EHP. What you don't see here, actually, because I have, if I'm not using stuff, I leave it in station. But essentially, she's got some complex type A2s. She's got coherent type A2s and variegated, whatever you say that, variegated type A2s with her. And that's basically for the rare ore when we find it. So we have, based on whatever rock we're currently going for, we have to kind of change crystals, because coherent is generally low sec ore, and whatever that other one is, complex is usually null sec and everything. And then she's also working on, I don't even know if she's there yet, but I had her working on Abyssal. Alright, so she's got about 1.5 levels of Abyssal ore processing to do, and then we'll actually be able to go and do like Rakavine and all that fun stuff in Poshrin with mods. But I have everything kind of sorted by time completion up to a certain point before it kind of falls apart. She's got industrial command, essentially industrial command ship stuff kind of queued up. The goal for her is to get like a porpoise. And as much as I would love to, like, take a porpoise. Like, I would love to take a porpoise, a Mackinaw, and a prospect around with me and just kind of use that as my suitcase and how she moves around. But you have a very limited space for the porpoise, like 5,000 cubic meter fleet hangar. You can fit a repackaged. You can fit either a repackaged prospect or a repackaged Mackinaw, but not necessarily both. But I think what I'll end up doing for her when she gets those porpoise skills is I'll get a porpoise for her that's essentially set up for like drone mining, and I'll just unrig this Mackinaw, and whenever she moves, she'll basically repackage this Mackinaw, throw it in the fleet hangar, and move around that way. Because the align time for the Mackinaw and the fact that we can use drones could be pretty cool. I try not to like have multiple characters move together when I'm playing as like kind of a nomad, because it's just more things to worry about. It's easier to have several different mining characters in different areas of space that I can kind of switch to. You know, for instance, like if one has a power stronghold, then I'll go mine on the other one. Or if there's something wrong with that one, either that one's got like the area is kind of hostile or whatever, then so. But essentially in our base system where we've got everything stockpiled, that is home to the Orca pilot and the 2 Hulks. So whenever I feel like doing fleet mining, I log in over there. Granted that there's no power stronghold, and then if I want to do absolutely anything else, any other type of mining, this is the character I'm on. I'm actually going to dock up and get this compressed and then go back to headquarters and drop it off. That way I can kind of show you guys what she carries around with her. And she's been doing this. It's only been a couple days and she's really kind of sunk into like the nomad kind of moving around mining and everything. But over the past few days, just doing some mining here and there, I think she's probably gotten like 50, 60 million in compressed ore value or something. So not bad at all. Which is kind of the point, right? The point is just to be able to go out there and do the mining thing.
Docking request accepted.
Right. Take all this, put it in item hold. Take that. Press it down. Now we can put this back in the mining hold. And we're good to go. We'll go ahead and get out of here. So basically I take everything to a compressible refinery. And usually if I'm doing a lot of trips back and forth, then I will just, fly up to the structure and I will compress it and drop it into the the cargo deposit outside, and then at the end of my overall session I'll compress it all and move it over. And then everything, I try to stockpile everything in NPC structures, because of just if they decide to unanchor the structure and I don't see it or catch it, I try not to keep any sort of assets or anything in structures that I don't control or know the people who are in control of that stuff. I've never been burned in the past, but I've heard stories of how people have gotten stuff into asset safety just because of that stuff. Alright, go and dock up, and I'll show you kind of what she carries with her.
Docking permission requested.
Docking is taking a little bit longer today than normal. This is why you just use cargo dump on the Athenor, and then just kind of do all the moving around at one time. So let's go to item hold here. As you can see, we've got quite a bit of stuff, but for the most part, she carries, like, all this stuff right now would fit into the Mackinaw right now, because we carry about 6 of each. So for ice mining, we've got the Ice Harvester 2s, and then the 3 Ice Harvester upgrades, and then essentially the 3 different types of 3 other different types of crystals, not including the simples that we've got. And each one of these, like this one, would essentially get used for crocite in the rare or anomaly, and then this one would be used for Ethereum, or the other one, Deuterium, and then the Coherent would be used for Ethereum or whatever how you say that, the one that has the isogen. So she's able to have actually like max kind of pretty decent yield for even those rare stuff. I apologize for all the throat clearing and craziness in this video. Our weather has changed here, and it's got me feeling kind of under the weather of sorts, which is probably why there's been such a gap between last episode and this one, because of just this week has just been weird. Plus I've had Diablo 4 our early access came out on the 1st, so I've been messing with that as well, while also trying to do mining. So there's been quite a few nights this past week that or these past few days that I've stayed up pretty late, and I'm an old person now, I feel like. So whenever I stay up past a certain time, I feel it the next day for real. So excuse me, the goal on this trip is to grab Rich Plag. So once we get on grid here, I'm gonna go and do a survey scan, because I'm pretty sure we're out of range of the Rich. Actually, we're not that far off. See if we can come a little bit closer to that one. We can essentially go ahead and grab the other two. Let the drones kind of do their thing. Alright, right there. This should be good. Alright, now we're in range of all three. D-scan is clear. You could probably tell I've kind of redone the user interface since the last episode. A lot of that had to do with trying to set up live streaming and just try to like get things a little more clean on screen for that. But I ended up actually really liking kind of like how much cleaner this looks, utilizing a lot of just grouped windows, and there's not a whole lot of things that I need to actually monitor when it comes to high sec, but everything's kind of where I can get to it and everything. There's a suspect in this system, which is why I'm checking D-scan, which most of the time in these high sec systems I don't have to worry too much about it. I haven't had any issues. We're gonna get this Rich Plag, and it's not even gonna come close to filling us up, so we'll go for probably the Veldspar variants. I just like having all my targets kind of queued up. It just allows me to quickly switch everything once rocks die. It's definitely a small rock day, because our ranges go from like 3,000 to 12, and on a big rock day we would see upwards to like 20k cubic meter rocks, so it doesn't take as much to kill rocks on small rock day. And it usually alternates. If you actually are interested in that kind of thing, go out to like an asteroid belt and survey scan it one day and look at the volume, and then the next day go out and survey scan the exact same rock, and they usually alternate every day between big and small, which is kind of interesting. So I guess talking more on the topic of like Poshman mining, the only reason she hasn't actually moved out to Poshman already was because it's one of those things for me where like I have to be in the mood to kind of mess around in Poshman, and also just because of how this series kind of operates, I need her to be basically kind of like high speed, low drag for essentially. So if I have an idea for a solo mining episode, she is more than capable of kind of pivoting and jumping in a ship and going out and doing a thing for a while. I'm trying to get away from, because if I plant her in Poshman, then that she'll become a character that only gets kind of like referenced or showcased when we're covering something related to trig space. So I feel like the variance of the type of content that I can show and kind of do on a daily basis is more. It's a lot more accessible by having her just being the nomad of the group. And so far, I've got really no complaints in terms of moving around. It's a lot of, like, obviously, we go through a lot of jump gates. We're always constantly moving. But the thing about being a nomad, it's like, normally if you're traveling into Eden, you have, like, your destination. You're going from point A to point B. For her, she can move a few jumps, do some mining, move a few more jumps, do some mining. So she eventually, if we need to like get to the point where we can, drop off all the ore we mine, she can, over the course of several days, kind of slowly make her way back where she needs to be and kind of mine along the way. So the need to actually, gun it back, let's say we're like 40 jumps away from where we need to be. There's no really need for me to, gun her back 40 something jumps to drop off ore, because we can just kind of bounce around and hang out. I usually hang out in one system a day and then move, and then hang out in that system for a day and then move. And all right, those are done. We also have to worry about residual waste and stuff like that, so small rock day can be really, really annoying for that. We'll get this rich plag, and then I usually tend to stay away from Skywardite. The regular Veldspar will be probably the last thing we grab, so I'll try to grab Azure Plag. And I mean, if we just came out here and grabbed nothing but Plag and Veldspar, we'd be doing pretty well. But I've been trying to focus on Trit. Is just, whenever we start doing industry, Trit is going to be just something that we're going to need like infinite amounts of. So if I'm just doing like regular non-exciting high-sec mining, I try to go for the Veldspar as much as I can, because it just gives us, I know in the future when we start melting this stuff down and everything, we're having a massive amounts of Trit is going to be. And the reason I haven't started melting it down now is because I want to get the reprocessing alt really, really skilled out pretty much across the board. And also, by leaving everything compressed, if we decide to like move it all to like an engineering complex to get better yield and just, is better for manufacturing, it's once we reprocess in minerals, it becomes a logistical nightmare because of the waste. So we want to try to keep things as small as possible in case we need to kind of move it all somewhere. And if that was the case, if I was going to move like a crazy amount, let's say I had minerals, or if you have minerals yourself and you want to like move that stuff to engineering complex, the best way to do that probably, for me personally, I would probably take a like a bus start or something, some sort of deep space transport, and just do multiple trips. It would take a while. If you don't really have that kind of time or patience, you could technically just grab like a freighter and move like a Caldari freighter. You could move roughly like 1.1 million cubic meters a trip. But even in minerals, if you've been mining and stockpiling for a while, that could still take multiple trips as well. And freighters are kind of they got a big target on their back in high sec, but it is what it is. That's why I try to keep everything in compressed value, because we're able to just grab and move stuff a lot more efficiently until we're kind of ready to go. And I usually try to only reprocess right before I actually manufacture something, unless I'm living in like nullsec. If I was living in nullsec, then I'd be reprocessing everything as I was getting it, because I'd be constantly using it and I'm not moving it around to different systems or whatever. But doing high sec industry is a whole other animal, and those logistical things you have to really kind of keep in mind. I might end up going off. I might actually end up going out and hunting some rare ore a little bit later. Might record that for the next episode, since it's a lot of gating and kind of checking stuff. And this morning I just kind of felt the need to relax and chill, which is why we're out here just doing regular high sec stuff. And I know it's been about a day or almost a day and a half since the last episode. So what's crazy is back when I was like operating in null and kind of the heyday as it was, doing fuel blocks, all that kind of crazy stuff. Even back when I was before I went to null and was doing a lot of stuff in high sec, I still never used the Mackinaw, mostly because my corp leader absolutely hated Mackinaws and was extremely against anybody using them. But I kind of find it interesting now that one of my main ships for doing a lot of high value, somewhat moderate risk mining is done in a Mackinaw. I think a lot of it has to do with like also the kind of balance pass changes they've done with the mining ships as well. I mean, like, I used to use a skiff religiously, and now I can't even imagine using a skiff for anything, because they've essentially destroyed that ship, and you'd be better off using a procurer. It's just they've really just kind of neutered the skiff, which sucks, because having a ship of that size and the capabilities that it used to have is pretty cool. But now it's the Mackinaw is kind of the best use case for what the skiff used to do. Let's do a little scan here. This will probably be the last trip I'll do for the episode. I don't want this video to go too crazy long. Trying to like get it to around an hour or so, maybe a little bit less, because I still have to be very conscious of
Asteroid.
my overall file size and how long it, because I want this video to come out today, so I have to account for essentially several hours potentially for upload. Alright, so that one is almost 9k away, so we can technically come off a little bit. Let's see what the size of these are. Just small rock day is kind of annoying, because you're killing like a bunch of rocks and it's not filling up very much or very fast. Alright, right, that's about good. Stop that ship right there. We're not really in range of any of the other stuff. I'm trying to ignore Scordite. Scordite's fine, it's just the pyrite I will essentially end up getting from moon mining. So getting that pyrite from Scordite seems a little meh to me. I kind of want to go over here and grab this rich plag. How big is it? 4? We'll probably kill these 3 rocks, and then we'll have to kind of slow boat over there and grab that. I try to grab dense feldspar and rich plag first, because it's not really about, like I said, it's not really about value. It's about what we get out of it when we're reprocessing. So we want to try to prioritize the higher tier variants when we can. Continue mining this. What's our rock situation look like? There's one concentrated Veldspar is about 15, which is going to get us pretty damn close with everything else that we're mining. And we have to close. Where's that rock at? 25 out. So we have to close essentially 10k in that direction to go out that way. Is this concentrated Veldspar the one? No, the one we're on is like 2,000 cubic meters. If that was like the 15,000 cubic meter one, I would have just put double lasers on it and started moving towards that rich flag. But it's not. It's not the case. Another thing I need to do today is finish the campaign and stuff for Diablo 4. Which, that game comes out in like less than 10 hours, I think, officially. So one of my goals for myself for that game was just to actually finish the campaign and stuff before the actual street release. Which we're pretty close. We're in like the last act. We're already into Paragon levels and kind of just... I've spent a lot of time doing like side quests and stuff. I don't know, honestly, if I'm going to be doing any content for Diablo 4. What I was doing is I was streaming it on Twitch, and I've done a couple streams over there, but the past day or so for live streaming has been really bad, to say the least. But if you ever see me on Twitch live streaming without like cam on, I'm literally just probably running at like the whatever my internet will allow me to, and essentially it's going to be like kind of no commentary, probably gameplay, whether it be like Diablo or mining or something like that. Just something for me to, if I'm already playing those games, I can turn that stream on and give something for someone to watch. And also I'm just actively trying to like test and keep my internet provider in check, which is not doing a whole lot of good at this point. But squeaky wheel gets the grease in most cases, but dealing with internet service providers is a punishment I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. I think my biggest problem with it is, like, you know, I have a pretty substantial technical background, so whenever I, like, you know, put on a support ticket or contact them, I know what's going on, I know it needs to be fixed, but then it's like I get on the line with people who have no technical kind of finesse, and they just kind of respond to me with scripted forum responses, which doesn't do anybody any good, and the whole like carrot on a stick kind of mentality, and it just doesn't go anywhere. I've essentially gotten to the point now, after dealing with this for the past several days, I've kind of reserved myself to just doing what I can do until I can get fiber, essentially, even if that means that, because I really want to like incorporate live streaming into like the content rotation that I'm doing right now, but it's like being not being able to do something that like you want to do like that because of some sort of technical limitation it really sucks. And it's not even like, oh, we'll just upgrade your internet, you know. It's like, well, we have the highest internet package that you can get in this area, and we're supposed to have a certain advertised speed on both down and up, and we don't get that, and that makes it even worse, right? You're being limited by some like technical things you can't control, but yet you're literally paying for the ability to be able to do the thing you want to do. It infuriates me. It's just ridiculous. Hate it. But that's just kind of the industry, unfortunately. Come on, Starlink. I don't even have Starlink in my area, or I'd be dropping for that too. I'd be dropping for anything. I'm at this point, I'm pretty sure that satellite internet would be faster than what I'm getting right now, which is regular cable. Which is sad. I used to really hate satellite internet, but that satellite internet has a better uplink speed, more consistent uplink speed than what I'm getting on a coax. But I guess it gives me something to complain about while I'm mining. That's a benefit. We're at 38 of 44. We got 14 to go. Let's do another scan. Got another dense Veldspar out there too, which we're kind of ignoring. We might be able to get the rich. There's 2 riches actually out here. There's usually one on each kind of tail of the arc. Which is, yeah, one's over there. They're separated. If we were using ore strip miners, we could probably reach both of them with boost, but we're not about that life right now. Like I said, I'm not too worried about it. We'll leave some rich plag for the next guy. Ooh, we got one Asteroid about to go. I guess what we could do is we can actually go out. How big is this rich over there? That one's actually bigger, technically. Or that dense. There's also a rich out there. We can actually move towards the rock we're mining right now and grab a rich and a dense. So we'll go and start kind of moving in that direction. We're going to fill up here pretty quick anyway, so... I think the next thing we're going to do in Poshven for this series is, we did Rakavine, but I'm going to go out and do some, I've really been wanting to go do some spud main mining. Spud main is great, especially for what we're trying to do right now, where we're just literally stockpiling ore for minerals for industry at some point. A spud main would be the ideal ore type to use for that. Alright, let's go ahead and drop that target, because we're not going to go after that one. How big is this concentrated Veldspar? It's probably going to go down pretty quick. Down to 8. We're in range of the other 2, so kill those. Go dense, rich. Since now we're in range there. Kind of skirt around all these big asteroids. Kind of get somewhere here between them both, or all 3 of them. 34. We got about 10,000 cubic meters left to fill up. Going to do a scan. Dense is about 3. It's going to die pretty quick. And then the rich we're on is about 8. So try to fill up the rest of the ore hold with these 2 rocks. Ooh, look at Jackdaw. Actually, we'll go and kill that target since we're focusing on these over here. Should be good enough. I'm thinking for the next episode, for 31, might do moon mining. We haven't done, like, up to this point, 30 episodes, we haven't done any moon mining per se, so we'll try to get this character out to an Athenor or something that in high sec that's got a moon popping. So if you're watching this and you got a moon popping in the next few days, let me know. You can just message my my main in-game, which is the same name as the channel, and let me know. Kind of link your system. The earlier you can let me know, the better. That way I can kind of not gun it over if you're really far kind of away from Caldari high sec. But you know, usually if you have a moon that's popping, just let me know system, let me know the day and time that it's gonna pop, and I'll help you kind of clear it. Probably won't be doing a lot of volume off the ground, but enough to talk about moon mining for an episode. Good enough for me. Did I talk about the yield for this? Yeah, we're doing about 2413 cubic meters each, so roughly a little over 28, or sorry, 4,800 cubic meters every 158 seconds. Not great. We're not in an intercom system, so we don't have like the Stellar Observatory bonus. We're not boosted, but that's kind of like not really the point of this character. This character is just out there doing its thing. Alright. Rich Plag should fill us up. We've got about a little over 5,000 cubic meters to go here. So those two categories, about 5,000. Yeah, so it's gonna be pretty close. We might not actually completely fill up before this rock dies because of waste residue. It really depends if we get lucky on this next cycle, but yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Talk a little bit about like how this character kind of operates and kind of how the overall mining operation works kind of across multiple different characters, but we'll probably leave it off here. She's gonna finish after this cycle, then we'll go compress it and throw it on the stack. But thank you for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you enjoy the channel and you want to contribute and support it, consider becoming a member, where you get membership badge and channel-wide recognition and all that good stuff. But anyway, until the next episode, fly safe, get out there and mine some ore, and most of all, have fun. Peace out.